It is the biggest fallacy ever to say we are democratic nations when the institution that wields the most power on earth is controlled by only 5 countries, and in a manner that is so undemocratic that no other countries have any say. Nobody votes for them. Nobody asks them any questions, yet they can decide all manner of things about the rest of us. If there was an epitome of a dictatorship, an organization that is undemocratic, that pretends to supervise democracies, it is the United Nations Security Council. And there can never be any remedy to that institution until it is reformed and made much more democratic and sensitive to the issues of its membership.
Well, this is not the first time President Ruto is calling out the UN. He has previously articulated his concerns about the United Nations on multiple occasions. A few months ago, he specifically targeted the United Nations Security Council, accusing it of being ineffective and lacking in democratic principles. Ruto's criticism of the UN comes as part of his broader push for international organizations to be more accountable and transparent in their operations. He has urged the UN to adopt more democratic practices and to be more responsive to the needs and concerns of member states. During the 78th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York, President Ruto delivered a speech calling for significant reforms within the UN. In his address, he emphasized the urgent need for proactivity and inclusivity to prevent conflicts and swiftly resolve current international crises. Ruto highlighted that the existing peace and security systems in the world have often failed to provide the necessary support and protection to the people who need it most. He reiterated that now is the time to take a closer look at the nature and purpose of multilateralism and subject it to honest scrutiny and judgment by history. Furthermore, the Kenyan leader argued that the UN has become dysfunctional, non-inclusive, undemocratic, and unrepresentative. He stated that it is thus incapable of delivering meaningful progress, and that the rampant impunity of certain actors on the world scene only confirms this fact. For years, African countries have been strongly advocating for equitable representation on the global stage, stressing the crucial need for the Security Council to genuinely reflect the varied voices and perspectives of the African continent, as well as the broader international community. Africa has consistently and vehemently pushed for a permanent seat within the UNSC, relentlessly pursuing this cause since 2005.
Politically speaking, we have the Africa Union Commission. I said we have 2 fundamental problems: climate change on one end and economic growth on another. For a very long time again, we have been subjected to a global financial architecture that is oppressive, that is unfair, where countries like Guinea-Bissau and Kenya and others, when they go to the financial markets, we find development resources at 10%, 12%, 15%, while countries in the global north go to the same markets and obtain development resources at 0.5%, 1%, maybe 2%, 5, 6, 7 times more. It is not possible, ladies and gentlemen, for us to develop at the same rate when we go to the same markets. We get development resources at different rates. And we are firmly asked that there is an imperative movement that must change the framework of the international financial architecture to be fairer, so that all of us can walk into the same markets and obtain development resources at equal and the same interest rates. We don't think it's too much to ask if we ask for fairness. We think it's the bare minimum anybody can ask. And I'm very proud that the voice of my brother and others, leaders collectively in our continent, is beginning to bear fruit. Number one, in COP28, the Nairobi Declaration position we took as African continent made significant influence in the outcome of COP28, meaning that the world is beginning to take Africa seriously because we are speaking with one voice. And number two, the World Bank has now agreed that we are going to have consultations with 72 countries, among them Guinea-Bissau and Kenya, on the next replenishment of the International Development Association resources for concessional financing as a first step in beginning to level the playing field when it comes to access to development resources. To say here that even as we speak firmly, candidly, to the international community, we must equally speak firmly and candidly to ourselves. It is said sometimes nobody should be sorry if you are the author of your own misfortune. We must organize ourselves. And that is why my brother Embalo and other brothers and sisters from this continent entrusted me with the responsibility to oversee the reform of the Africa Union institutions so that we can make them fit for purpose, so that we can make them work for the millions of African young people in our continent, so that we can make AU work for our stability, our economic progress. We can leverage on our unity to unlock the tremendous potential that exists in our continent, to make meaning of the 65% of arable agricultural land uncultivated in our continent, to feed our people and to free ourselves from food insecurity, to give ourselves the opportunity to use our mineral resources, natural resources, use interventions of value addition, agro-processing, manufacturing, industrialization, to create wealth, to create jobs, to create value, to enhance our own prosperity as a continent. We will make our forefathers, including Cabral of this nation, proud when they see us taking our continent through a prosperous path.
In any case, I would appreciate it if you could kindly share your feedback on this matter. Please subscribe to our channel, like our content, and share it with your network. Additionally, feel free to express your thoughts in the comments section below.